Lowther driving baseline, up and under is good!
Hesitates, now for Lowther, driving the lane, jump stop, off the glass and in! The freshman!
Springfield went for 29. Lowther up and...
Regains possession, goes up, foul! Basket in the foul!
Lowther with the basket.
Turns around, kicks out, Needleman skip past to Lowther, 4, 3 on the shot clock, Lowther spinning on the line! Good ball movement, Needleman 3, won't go, Lowther the rebound, up and
Lowther!
Hey everybody, this is Coach Chris Bartley, the head coach at WPI, entering my 20th year of the men's basketball program, and I'm joined here today with my trusted assistant coach and former men's basketball player at WPI, Hall of Famer, Jeff Robinson, the best assistant coach in the business. And we're going to talk today to one of our rising sophomores, John Lowther, who had a terrific season for us. Came on and became the NEWMAC Rookie of the Year. He also was involved in a lot of activities, including the ROTC program at WPI. He comes from a huge family, which we got to talk about that, with a lot of sisters. Was a really, really good player for one of the top AAU programs in the area, Rise Above, with Coach Carter. And they gave him a good background and good preparation for WPI. And he's in the midst of finishing up his first year academically as a civil engineering major, so we'll talk some about that. But hopefully we'll have some fun today with John and learn some more about what it's like to be a WPI men's basketball player and a part of the WPI community, and all the cool things that you can do. So, John, welcome aboard. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Thank you for having me, Coach.
Yeah. So let's get right. Let's talk family first, because I remember when we recruited you, meeting your dad at some events, your mom at some events, and then I started meeting your sisters. And I was like, wait, how many sisters does he have? So tell me about the size of your family and who you got. And I don't want to forget, the other members of your family too. It's not like it's all girls. So
yeah. So I got 4 sisters, all younger, all 2 years apart, and I got one older brother at Loyola, Maryland.
So what did you learn from growing up in a large family?
It's definitely a lot of independence, because my parents are spread out pretty thin over all 6 kids who all play sports. So it's a lot of finding your own rides, a lot of making friends with other parents so you can find rides, stuff like that.
Yeah, you definitely want to get along with all the other parents so you can tag along, right?
Yeah.
So what about like at home? What's it like as far as, just dealing with, 4 sisters? I had 3 older brothers and 1 older sister, but we were like really spread out in age. But is it like the cliche, like with the bathrooms and all that stuff, is like a big waiting line?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Jeff, what do you want to ask J-Lo as we continue to go here?
Yeah, I just want to dive into get right into it as far as the coming to WPI as a freshman. Just talk about some of the things you took from playing in the Rise Above AU program, coming to WPI, and then the biggest thing you learned that was like an adjustment coming to campus, not only as a basketball player, but also as a student.
Yeah. So I guess to start off, it was Hingham. It was kind of different, a lot different than AU, definitely, because the competition level of the Patriot League on the South Shore wasn't great. So it was AAU that really made me want to play basketball at the next level, seeing and competing with all these other teams, all these other players who you'd see that are going on to play high D1, and then my team, a bunch of nobodies, going out there and beating them, and that was a great feeling for me. So that was my inspiration for wanting to play basketball. And also my dad had played Clarkson in his time, so Yeah, and it's just the coaching. Coach Carter and Coach DePaulis and even Coach Niffen, they just really made me love basketball and wanted to spend like every season of every year playing. I don't remember the last time I've taken an off season from playing basketball.
So you get to WPI, you make that decision, and what was the impetus or for making that decision? What separated WPI from the other places you were looking at?
It was definitely the atmosphere, because I remember coming here and I remember walking in the gym with you, and I remember seeing 6 more people at the ball gun, getting shots up, getting workouts in. That was awesome. And I remember seeing a lot of the other schools, people who were showing up like late to pick up, and people showing up like not stretching out, just running in and joking around, not really taking it seriously. And I remember Wiz going at everybody, going at people's necks when we were playing pickup. I was like, wow, this is awesome. So, yeah, it was a lot of that, and definitely the family aspect, because when I went on other visits, people kind of split off, and a lot of people did their own thing. But when I went to WPI, everyone was in the same place. Everyone was hanging out. It was awesome.
Yeah. It's so important, I think, at our level, because, as coaches, we can't, work with the guys in the fall and in the spring like you can at Division I or Division II. So in order to, circumvent that and still get the, really good improvement in the off season, you need those guys that, hold each other accountable and are motivated to like push each other. So as you get through this first year now, you remember back to when Wiz was, setting the tone with everybody, what's it going to be like when you become one of those guys now that has to do that?
I can't wait. It's definitely an energy thing. I want to be – I've always wanted to be a leader of this team, because Wiz's example, he set a great example with just being the energy guy. And I don't remember a day that he wasn't there ready to go and just, pushing everyone. So that was awesome. So even when you or J-Rob might not have been talking in the moment, he was there yelling, coordinating stuff. So that was a cool thing to learn from, at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I think is pretty interesting too for you. What was it like establishing yourself throughout the year on a really experienced group? You came in as a freshman, a lot of older guys on the team who were playing, and gradually throughout the year, what was that process like to really have to establish yourself on the team?
Yeah, it felt like a dogfight, honestly, because getting in there was no, you wouldn't tell that we were so close on the court. There was a lot of shoving, a lot of pushing, and I loved that. So it was just competing, and it was awesome. It was the experience of also, there's no seniority, really. If someone deserved to play and he was younger than another guy, then he played. That was basically at the bottom line.
Yeah.
So when you I think you had a really good trajectory of your freshman year, and I think sometimes with young players and they come into a program, especially a program with a deep tradition like we have, it's not easy to hit the ground running, because there's a lot to learn and usually have good players in front of you. But you're clearly, I think, one of the, premier athletes in our league. But when you came in, it's like you had to go through that process where I think some kids, if they're not getting immediate results, early on in their freshman year, sometimes, they lose confidence or, maybe even, lose that edge that they had when they came into the season with. How did you, take some of the tough times that you went through early in the season, and how did you learn to build on those where you put together this, tremendous season during the conference play to become the rookie of the year in our conference?
I think it was a lot of finding my role on the team, because I definitely had that attitude for the beginning of the year. I'm not going to be playing this year and I can't help my team. So I needed to shake that off. And once in practice, I started gaining confidence. I can actually help this team. I try to focus on what I was good at, the elbow, driving from there, post action. and shooting the spot up threes. So I just focused on what I was good at and what I could help the team with, crashing offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds. So, and once I just worked on that, I earned a little bit more playing time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And, so you're coming to WPI, and you make this decision to be in the ROTC program at WPI. Where did that drive come from? And then how did you balance that commitment with academics and basketball and being a freshman on campus and just trying to have a little social life as well?
Inspiration is definitely my mom. My mom served in ROTC. She was in ROTC, and then she served in the Army. She went to Honduras, all over Central America. So that was hearing her talk about that was a lot of motivation for me to do it. I just come from a big military family too, a ton of aunts and uncles who have been through it. And I actually got chances to talk with the cadre who worked at WPI before coming, and it seemed like just an awesome program, something you want to be a part of. So coming in, it was definitely difficult, and I could have handled communication a little bit better, but it was just learning as I go. So working with that, I think, helped me a lot with time management and communication skills. So I definitely feel like I'm a much better worker and I have a better work ethic after going through that, academics and the basketball season.
And what's the commitment for ROTC at WPI? Just talk about the class and the training and everything that goes into it.
Yeah, so 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, there's a workout from 6 to 7, formation at 5:45. Then we have class.
This is AM, everyone. This is AM.
Sorry. So there's that, and then once a week we have class with a retired colonel who has a lot of experience in the Army. Who's really cool to hear about. And then we have a lab on Thursdays from 3 to 5, where we go. We've gone all over Worcester, honestly. We went to a National Guard base. We've gone to Newton Hill and a bunch of other parks, and we work on a lot of platoon-sized formations and attack, ambush, defense. That is cool. It's really cool. It has its ups and downs, definitely. I'd say downs being waking up really early, but I'm lucky that I'm exempt from that during the basketball season, so that's helpful.
So what's it like? Give me like a cool like tactical experience that you had.
So in October we went up to Fort Devens. I'm honestly not really sure where that is relative to Massachusetts, but we go up there and we did platoon attack, and we were able to use paintball guns, and it was awesome. Like applying everything we knew and then like simulating it and like thinking about how actually acting this out in real life.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. A little scary, but also awesome.
Yeah. So it's are you guys like in like team sort of like, and it's like nighttime and that kind of, because I've been out at Fort Devens. It's like those old like buildings like that used to be like former like I guess like they used to be like dormitories or whatever.
Yeah.
And all those different buildings and stuff, as well as that big open field and all that stuff.
So we are actually situated very far from all the buildings and structure.
Oh, you are?
We're in the woods, yeah. So got to set up our own little hut, and like sleeping in the woods was not great because it was raining. It was tough. It was loud. So that kind of sucked. Not gonna lie.
Here I am. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was like set up like a movie scene or something. You know what I mean? Like
no.
You guys are just like in the woods, huh?
Yeah. So it was 5:30 wake up, and I think we finished every night around 12:30. So not a ton of sleep, but yeah, we were doing a land nav at night, which was really cool. They'd give us coordinates, and we had to find these markers, and they were really far away. So it was really cool, like wandering through the woods and trying to find them.
How was playing your first scrimmage with our basketball team, and then having to depart early to go make that might have been your Fort Devens trip. That was it.
Yeah. That was a rude awakening for a lot of reasons. Getting back from ROTC training and then getting there and then having a really poor scrimmage, getting yelled at and then going back and then also getting yelled at. So
it was that was like the J-Lo, go get the ball. Like, just go get the ball. Yeah, I remember that. And then all of a sudden you had to like run out the door and get to Devens. But I think it's like it actually is like a good indication of like being able to do, a lot of different things and still play at a high level, at WPI. Like we run the program, I think a lot like a scholarship program, but we also have that flexibility that we understand that, academic, situations are going to come first. And then in this case, we have to work as a team with ROTC and, the leadership there and making sure that we're aligned, show them the respect that, the ROTC program has, where you have to have certain obligations that, if we have to alter our schedule for basketball around some things, we can do that. It's all about, working together. And I think, we do a good job. Not only you're one of the few basketball players that we've had in ROTC, but I know there's a lot of football and wrestling kids that have been in ROTC and a lot of athletes in general at WPI. So it's something that we'd like to, put out there more to, potential student athletes that are looking at WPI. So what would you say, like, to those types of kids that might be looking at WPI, they see, hey, this college is a great place, great basketball, costs a lot of money. Why don't you talk a little bit about, what ROTC does for you financially, and what would you say to try to sell that program to maybe future WPI student athletes?
So I earned a 3-year scholarship. So I have 3 years of WPI paid for, and I also have, for the other year, I have my room and board paid for. So I'm paying very little myself and my parents for my WPI education. And if I was trying to sell it to someone, I'd say first, it's not for the faint of heart. It's definitely difficult and it's not easy. But, I mean, from what I've heard from it, I have a lot of family that's gone through it and is currently serving. That it's like an unparalleled experience. I have a cousin who's in Washington right now, the Corps of Engineers, and he's telling me all these stories about stuff he's been on, and it wants me to go, and it makes me want to go right now. It's awesome. So.
Yeah, so I guess what I would say is, from just working with you, is it's definitely not something that you'd want somebody to consider based on the money aspect of it, and the scholarship. That's sort of like a perk to me, but it does have to be, in your heart and in your gut to do. Now, what's the commitment basically, or what are the options when you graduate from WPI?
So there's basically the three branches, the three options is reserves, National Guard, and active duty. So National Guard, actually a lot of kids in my grade in my class are activated and they're with the National Guard right now, helping out with coronavirus. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Reserves is, I'm not sure exactly the commitment, but it's a couple weekends a month where you're working out on a base and you're doing tasks. So I'm not exactly sure what the commitment is there, but I'm hoping to go active duty, and I'm interested in aviation. It'd be cool to be an Apache pilot. So yeah, that's the dream, but it's competitive to get in active duty.
So how about last summer, Major Colonel Heppy?
Lieutenant Colonel now.
Lieutenant Colonel Heppy now. So he invited people in athletics and throughout the WPI community to go up to the Worcester airport because they were doing something on Apache was flying into the Worcester airport. So I took my kids out there, and there was a bunch of coaches there from WPI too. Went to Worcester airport, and we got to go right on the runway where it landed and take pictures and meet and talk with the pilot. And it was thanks to Lieutenant Colonel Heppy that we got a chance to do that. Got some great pictures, and it was incredible to me, like how those are older. They were built a long time ago, You know what I mean? Those.
Yeah.
So and it's incredible, just to see that stuff up close. And now I'm picturing you, in charge of one. I'm like, well, geez, we got to get better at your ball screen defense first before we start worrying about you flying Apache helicopters. But I think you'll do it. If there's one thing I know about you is you'll persevere and you'll get it done, because that's, I think, one of the hallmarks that I think about you is I don't think you ever seem to get overwhelmed, which I think is a really tough thing when you're doing all the stuff that you're doing, and you just kind of plug away. And I think you take pride in doing everything well. I don't think you take any shortcuts. So it's a credit to you that you're doing all this stuff and still doing well academically as well. Jeff, what else you got from my man?
I did maybe want to circle back to the academic piece. You did your first year in the civil engineering program. What made you want to do civil engineering?
So I don't know if you ever heard the show. You ever heard the show Prison Break?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've got a tattoo on my back of my entire house and how I used to get out in case there was
blueprints. Yeah. So he was actually a civil engineer, and I was obsessed with that show at the time. And I kind of did some research on civil engineering. I was like, wow, that's actually pretty cool. And it fit in with ROTC because they look for civil engineering, mechanical engineering, stuff like that. So it just kind of fit together. My dad's also an engineer, and yeah, so it just kind of worked out that way.
Can I just say about, I have some Prison Break thoughts. It was really cool. Then it started to get really, really bizarre. It just was not
Did you finish it?
Realistic or not. I don't know. So I watched it when it was on TV.
Yeah.
When it first came out, I can't even remember the year, the first couple seasons. Then I didn't watch it for years. And then I caught it a few years ago, and on I don't know if it was on Netflix or something else that I watched a few more seasons, but it started getting bizarre. You know what I mean?
Got nuts. Yeah, it definitely did.
I don't know if I ever finished it. I watched a lot of it, and I don't think I ever finished it. But.
Yeah, I don't think they really had a plan for once he escaped the first prison. They just kind of rolled with it. So.
Anything involving breaking out of prison, though, they've got some viewers locked in on.
Yeah,
it.
Definitely.
Just intrigues people.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, bank robberies, prison breaks, things like that. Courtroom scenes, I love that stuff. Anything with a courtroom, I love that stuff. All right, so we only got maybe one or two more, but as you start to fast forward and think towards next year, during this difficult time, obviously, for everybody, what are you doing at home to try to stay ready and trying to get better for next year?
I'm doing as much as I can with what I have. I definitely know what I have to work on from this past season. Definitely handling. It's definitely seeing the floor a lot better, which is tough to work on when you not really able to play pickup or anything. But I'm definitely working on my ball handling and getting shots up whenever I can. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that that next step in growth and development, for you, I think you're right on the money because, you're such a powerful and athletic player. So if you can improve your skills with the ball away from the basket, it'll help you get towards the basket. And when you get towards the basket, going with the physicality and athleticism that you have, you're tough to deal with. When you throw that on top of the fact that you shot the ball well from, spot up threes, I think if you continue to, just get more comfortable with that stuff, I could see you having, another big jump, left in your game, what was the defensively for you? I think that's what took time for you to sort of get used to the college level and guarding different types of guys. What was that like for you going through the season, and how do you think you did from, where you started to where you ended up?
I'm definitely not used to as much structure on defense as you like. So having the 6 different signals for ball screen defense was a lot to adjust to. But I think
there, Chief.
But I had a tough time, obviously, as you guys know. But guarding that and communicating, it's not my strong suit for the beginning of the year, and probably even up to midway towards the end, I still struggle with it a little bit. But learning that and just realizing that talking was really the only way to get through screens or really anything was an important lesson.
Yeah. And, the thing I would say to young players out there too is, it's sometimes you have to take that step where you learn a lot, and because you're learning a lot, you're tending to think a lot. And when you're thinking a lot, you're not going to be as instinctive and athletic, So I kept saying to you, like, think in practice, but don't think in the games. Just go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think you did a good job with that eventually, but I think it's sometimes a necessary step, because I think it'll make you better in the long run. So you'll be surprised, like you'll go into next year and you're just going to, because of the habits and because of the repetition you had with the stuff this past year, it's gonna flow, and you won't have to think so much, and it becomes more ingrained in you. And once it becomes ingrained, then you can just use your instincts and you don't have to think about it. So that's what I'm excited about for you. The biggest thing of excitement, I think, for any coach is when you have a really talented player, and you certainly are a talented player, because winning Rookie of the Year in our conference means you have to play a lot, obviously, as a first-year player, which isn't easy to do on an NCAA team, which we were. We had 4 teams in our league go to the NCAA, so we play in a really, really tough conference. So to be the best first-year player, I think, says something. The thing is like the excitement from a coach and player's perspective is building on that, and that's what we're excited about, is to see what you can do building on it. And the reason is because you have a work ethic and you love to play basketball. You sent me a text, I think, a week or 2 ago, and you were like, I just want a ball or something like that. And, or maybe it was a tweet you said that, I can't remember.
Yeah, I said that out.
I just want a ball. And I was like, I texted you or something, and then you texted me that exact same thing. So that's cool. Loving the game. Jeff is a great example of that. Jeff what you used to do when you came to campus every day, Jeff?
That was old school. I always had that ever since high school, actually. I used to walk around with my basketball. In college, when I got here, I'd have that thing on me all the time. Coming up the hill in the morning, and my thing was, once you come up the hill, because all of our guys live in apartments pretty much after their freshman year, take all your stuff up that you're going to need for the day, and don't go back down till late at night, because if you're going back to your apartment, what are you doing? Playing video games or sleeping? So stay up there, get shots up, get your workout in, get your schoolwork done. And that was my kind of way to just continuously get better. Just always be in the gym, and always be ready to go.
So we want to next year maybe do a team activity where we do a paintball match. I'm going to be the lead recruiter, and I'm going to choose J-Lo as the captain of my paintball team, okay? Who do you think – this is a good question. Who do you think would be the second best paintball player on our roster? Good question, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of someone who'd take it the most seriously, like most competitively.
Right. But you also need a sharpshooter.
That's true.
You need a sniper.
I feel like Caleb would be a sleeper.
I'm going to say too loud. I'm going to say way too loud.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, like somebody's kind of stealth, you know what I mean?
That's true.
Move around a little bit and stay out of the way.
Yep.
Let's think about that one. We'll maybe have an answer for that next time we do a daily dose of WPI Hoops. But I want to thank our man John Lowther, and want to thank his family for letting him come here, and thank Hingham Basketball and the Rise Above AAU program and all the great players they're turning out to become one of the top AAU programs that we can recruit at, because they're good academic kids too. They do a good job preparing them. So we're happy to get year one under your belt. We want everyone to stay safe out there. I want to thank Coach Robinson for helping put this together. He's our master editor. And John, you were terrific. And we look forward to being together in person, hopefully sometime soon. All right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Coach.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See ya.